Hello friends! In today's video, we are going to be highlighting an incredible story of the three Indian sisters with the rare werewolf syndrome, which affects just 1 in a billion people in the world. However, as fate would have it, it's not only the one uniqueness they got, so ensure to see the story till the very end. When a BBC journalist discovered three sisters living in a small village outside Pune, India, it was hard to believe they had a rare disease, which was characterized by excessive hair growth. Even though that their family is blessed with 6 children, only 3 of the sisters suffer from this strange disease. Growing up in the village of Sangli, a small but busy market town in the far-flung region of central India, they were always aware that they are different from other people. While some of their peers have found partners, these 3 sisters realized that no one would be happy to settle down with hairy brides. Even though they are too young to be married according to Indian law, local men have rejected them for being too hairy. The oldest among the 3 sisters, Savita, had once granted an interview where she claimed her and her sisters lost faith about any good thing about life, including having a family of their own. Quoting her words, she said, "Marriage is not an option for us. Who is going to marry us when the hair continues to grow on our faces?" The boys yelled "horrible face" at me and "don't sit next to her." The 3 sisters' hair grows extremely quickly. It was first reported that this is because they use hair-removing cream, but unfortunately, the cream is unable to keep up with the speed of the hair growth, creating a wild melodrama across the village. They have been trying various treatments for several years, but none have worked for them. Since the case was more widely publicized, in 2012, the Moscow Institute of Plastic Surgery expressed interest and reached an agreement for the 3 sisters to travel to Russia. Their mother, Anetha, shares that her biggest concern was freeing her daughters from the harsh life of a spinster in her village, where Savita, the eldest sister, already struggles to hold a steady job due to her looks. Usually, she holds a job for some time, say 15 days, and then she gets fired in days when she begins to grow the abnormal hair. Due to their condition, the sisters became outcasts in their village and were forced to live in isolation, away from the rest of society. None of the 3 dared to leave their homes for fear of being attacked by a neighbor. Years after, the girl's mother is still trying to raise funds for her daughters to undergo laser sessions to get rid of excess hair. The application of the laser costs 350,000 Indian rupees, which equals almost $5,000 for each girl, but the family never had enough to afford even one. For this reason, documentary filmmaker Snake Gupta plans to shoot a movie about young sisters in order to help them make their dream come true. Before that, however, the sisters have to use a cheap hair removal cream every 2 or 3 days to get rid of the hair that is growing over their faces. That is the only way they can be in society and feel normal. You might be wondering what this werewolf syndrome is, why it is so rare, and how it all started for the Sangli sisters. Well, this rare condition, named after the hairy features of a wolf, is the appearance of hair in areas of the body where it does not usually grow. That is the case of the 3 Indian sisters. However, this disease has been genetically transmitted, and the girls inherited it from their father. Surprisingly, he had 3 other daughters, but none of them have any physical defects. There can be many other reasons as to why the sisters contracted this syndrome while growing up. It can be due to malnutrition or a reaction to pills they took in their early lives. Another reason could be photosensitivity, where their skin got very sensitive to light. Still wondering, how were they able to overcome it? Well, when the girls were young, their family lived in poverty. They couldn't afford a visit to a doctor or any treatments. When their father died, all hope for a cure was lost. They used to stay at home rather than go to school. It was safer to avoid the bullying and name-calling that occurred outside their house. The siblings feared going out because they knew people would make fun of them. Whenever they went outside for a checkup or to visit relatives, people would call them beasts and subjected them to taunts. Their mother's 3 other daughters were always supporting them. They worked hard at school and college and ultimately found good jobs. But they can never fully understand the plight of the other 3. You might be curious how the sisters did prevent further hair progression. They tried shaving and waxing, which was used to control the problem at one time of their early lives. They combined good dieting and exercise to control cholesterol levels, which also influences hormonal changes in certain cases. It was the best way the doctors could help sustain the ailment. Growing up, the girls became more hopeful about their lives, especially when they found it had a cure. They did a lot of research on the internet and visited many doctors. The common advice was to wait for puberty to take its course. Most of the doctors agreed that the hair would most likely disappear by itself. They tried everything available on the market, from creams to waxing and shaving, but none of them worked. In fact, some made things worse because they caused irritation and inflammation of their sensitive skin. The causes of this rare condition, therefore, are very varied. Although it is quite clear that the sister inherited the syndrome from their father, other cases are caused by the use of pills or latent disease. But the new hair remover creams seem to have worked wonders for the sisters, and many years later, they feel happier than ever. Anetha, their mother, wants her daughters to find husbands one day, but the girls are very pessimistic about it. However, the mother thinks positively and is sure that the werewolf syndrome is not the end of the world or a one-way ticket to eternal loneliness, but instead, the beginning of a new life. That's all on this video. Let us know what you think about the three sisters and their rare condition in the comments below. And don't forget to give thumbs up if you like the video to show your support, and also don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified when a new video like this is out. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.